Hi all and welcome back to the channel, and I hope you're all doing okay. Right, I must start off by apologising for the lack of videos over the last couple of days, but one of my hard drives failed and I lost so much of my stuff that I'll have to deal with what I've got at the moment. But anyway, enough of my whinging. I've got quite a lot to get through this evening, so I'm going to start off with George Russell. So George Russell believed that Mercedes had a good chance of winning the Monaco Grand Prix. Russell said, "When we lined up on the grid the first time and we were on the hards, the four drivers ahead were on mediums. I was like, this is perfect. Then, when Carlos had his puncture, I genuinely thought we've got a shot here. Minimum for podium, potentially even victory being on that different strategy. We were going to play a bit of a team game and try and boost our chances. But as soon as that red flag came out, everything went out of the window. Nevertheless, 70 odd laps on that medium, close the gap in on Ferrari and McLaren. At the end, I think we can arguably say it is probably one of our best weekends." And it would have been nice to see exactly how things would have played out if that red flag hadn't happened. But Lewis Hamilton was quite blunt about his assessment of the Monaco Grand Prix, describing it as one of the dullest races he has ever experienced. Hamilton showed progress during the early phases of the weekend, but a poor P7 finish in qualifying left him following the rear wing of Max Verstappen for 78 laps around Monte Carlo. He said after the race, "Because of the crash, everyone switched over to the other tyre and just managed at a really slow pace. So definitely one of the dullest races I think I've been in, but that's Monaco for you." It does make you wonder how much longer Monaco can be on the calendar when these cars are getting ever bigger, ever wider. Then I want to move on to Max Verstappen because he's predicted a tight battle this season, suggesting that the order will change from week to week. This comes after winning 4 of the first 5 races, but he has won just 1 of the last 3 with McLaren and Ferrari closing in on Red Bull. Verstappen said, "I know that it was never going to be like last year. To have a season like that is quite rare. So I always knew that this year was going to be a little bit different, but also I don't really think about championship positions or whatever. There are so many races left. Some races are a bit better for us, some are probably a bit worse for us, and at the end of the day, it all works out." It really was strange to see the struggles of Red Bull. I mean, we don't know what happened with Sergio Perez because obviously he was out in the first lap, which I'm going to come to in a sec, but struggling like that, it's kind of interesting. So anyway, moving on to Sergio Perez, because his last lap crash at the Monaco Grand Prix, which sent him into the outside barrier at high speed, writing off nearly every component of his RB20 and ending his race, has cost Red Bull within the region of £2 to £3 million, according to Helmut Marko. He said, "This is costing us about 2 to 3 million, and with the budget cap, that is of course a big handicap. It was another crash that Magnussen was involved in. Thank God it ended well, but it was a critical situation. I was surprised, though, how quickly the stewards dealt with the matter. These are decisions you can hardly influence, but it was just dangerous." But Kevin Magnussen has blamed Sergio Perez after they came together during the opening lap of the Monaco Grand Prix. Magnussen said, "I trusted he was going to leave space for me since I was there. It's not a corner where you are braking into. It is a bend on the straight, so from my point of view, I was there and I got squeezed to the wall. I think as I was on the inside there, my front wheel was alongside his rear wheel and he just went to the wall. So I expected him to be leaving a car's width. Since I was there, it's not like I just emerged out of nowhere. I was there and yeah, we went straight to the wall, so I'm not sure." Now the weird thing there is, I mean, he didn't get penalised for that incident at all. But it showed Sergio Perez looking in his right-hand mirror, and he was clearly aware that Magnussen was there, and probably well aware what Magnussen was doing. Yeah, I understand that Perez was just following the racing line, but I don't know what happens in a situation like that. I mean, that's down to the steward to decide, obviously. So who's to blame? I genuinely don't know. But then I want to come on to something that Ted said on his notebook. Have a listen to this clip here and then let me know what you think afterwards.
Is Max Verstappen, with his complaints about the car's handling here, preparing the justification for a potential exit from Red Bull? I will leave that question hanging in the air. That's one for you to discuss between your mates. But Max was quite tough on Red Bull and the shortcomings of their, what we thought was a great car, this RB20, after qualifying yesterday. And again, sort of to Nats in the pen afterwards, saying, well, you know, this is what's going to happen with this car. And Canada has curbs that we don't like either. This car doesn't like either. And I just wonder whether Max is sort of preparing the ground for a sort of justification from his eventual Red Bull exit, whether that's for next year or the year after or not at all. We will all find out.
And the reason I mention this is I find this a bit of an odd statement from Ted. I mean, the thing is, not only was Max critical of Red Bull and the car on Friday during the practice sessions and Saturday during qualifying and clearly during the race on Sunday, he was being interviewed by Sky Sports Italy. The interviewer said to Max, "The first real mistake from you this year." And Max Verstappen said, "I wouldn't say so. I would happily invite everyone in the paddock to drive that car and try to go faster than me." And he does seem really, really down about the RB20 at the moment, and I find that really interesting. And I'm not saying there's anything in what Ted said, and I'm not trying to make anything of it, but I just thought it was worth covering, because for Ted, who's been in this game a long time, there must be some warning signals there from what Max is saying, maybe his body language, I don't know, but let me have your thoughts on that. Really quite an interesting one, I thought. But anyway, that's all I got for you this evening. Thank you so much indeed for continuing to take your time out to be here with me. I really and truly do appreciate it. Thank you also for your comments, your likes and your shares. Again, that really and truly does mean a lot to me. Genuinely it does, and thank you so much indeed for that. And of course, if you do like what I do, please consider pressing the like button, also press the subscribe button, and also press the notification bell so you get those all important future warnings of my uploads. And as always, until the next time, take care.